In today's Reddit story, my brother flirted with my fiance at Christmas, so I cut him off. But then my family turned against me. Christmas is supposed to be a time for family, right? Well, for me, it turned into the biggest nightmare I've ever experienced. My fiance, Lisa, to 9F, and I have been together for 3 years. We got engaged last summer, and everything between us has been great. Until my brother, Jake, decided to show his true colors. Let me start by saying that Jake has always been the charming one. He's the type of guy that everyone likes because he knows how to say the right things and always gets attention. Growing up, it was kind of annoying, but I never really had a problem with him. Sure, we had our sibling fights, but I always figured he'd grow out of his immature ways. Spoiler alert, he didn't. It all started at Christmas last year that my parents invited us all to their house for a family dinner. Lisa and I were excited because she really likes my family, and we hadn't seen them for a while due to the pandemic and work commitments. I should have known something was up the moment we walked in. Jake was already there, laughing loudly with my parents, drink in hand. As soon as we walked in, his eyes zeroed in on Lisa, and right away, I got a weird feeling. He greeted us, but it was Lisa he couldn't stop complimenting. "Sheesh, Lisa, you're looking stunning," he said, eyeing her up and down. My brother is a lucky man. I brushed it off at first. Compliments are fine, right? I wasn't going to be insecure over one comment, but then it kept happening throughout the night. It is. We were sitting around, having drinks and chatting, and Jake just wouldn't stop. Every time Lisa said something, Jake would jump in with some flirty remark. "Oh, Lisa, you have such a great laugh. You should wear dresses like that more often. You've always got such a warm smile." At first, Lisa didn't seem to mind. She's polite and good at deflecting awkward situations, but as the night went on, I could see her starting to get uncomfortable. I was starting to get uncomfortable, too. I shot him a look, but Jake either didn't notice or didn't care. Then it got worse. During dinner, Jake leaned across the table, looked straight at Lisa, and said, "If my brother wasn't such a lucky guy, I'd definitely be trying to steal you away." There was this awkward silence at the table. I looked at my parents, hoping someone would say something, but they just laughed it off like it was some kind of harmless joke. Lisa was clearly uncomfortable, so I decided to speak up. "Jake, that's enough," I said. "You're being inappropriate." Jake just smirked and raised his glass. "Relax, man. I'm just having fun. It didn't feel like fun to me." Lisa and I exchanged glances, but we tried to get through the rest of the dinner. I didn't want to ruin the evening for my parents, so I held back. After dinner, we all moved to the living room to open presents. Everything seemed to calm down a bit, and I thought maybe Jake had gotten the hint, but I was wrong. While Lisa was sitting on the couch, Jake decided to sit way too close to her. He put his arm on the back of the couch, leaning in like they were having some private conversation. I could see Lisa stiffen, but before she could get up, Jake leaned in even closer and whispered something in her ear. I didn't hear what he said, but I didn't need to. Lisa's face went pale, and she immediately stood up and walked over to me. "We need to leave now," she whispered, her voice shaking. I didn't ask questions. I grabbed our coats, said a quick goodbye to my parents, and we left. As we were driving home, I asked Lisa what Jake had said, and that's when she told me everything. Jake had whispered something disgusting. Something about how, if things didn't work out with me, she should give him a call, and how he'd show her what she was missing out on. He had even tried to touch her thigh before she pulled away. I was furious. I didn't know what to do. I've never felt that kind of rage before. Part of me wanted to turn the car around and go confront him, but Lisa was upset, and I didn't want to make things worse. So I decided to wait until the next day to deal with it. The next morning, I called Jake. I was still fuming, but I wanted to hear what he had to say for himself. Maybe Maybe he would apologize and admit he was out of line. "Jake, what the hell is wrong with you?" I started. "You made Lisa uncomfortable last night, and what you said to her was completely out of line." There was a pause, and then Jake laughed. "You're overreacting," he said casually. "Lisa's a big girl. She can handle a little joke." A little joke? Was he serious? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "That wasn't a joke. Jake, you were harassing her." Jake sighed, clearly annoyed. "Listen, bro. Don't get all worked up. She's just playing hard to get. Women like a little attention. That was it." I told him if he didn't apologize to Lisa and stop acting like a creep, I was done with him. No more brotherly bonds. No more family get-togethers. Just done. Jake didn't take me seriously, though. He brushed me off, saying I was being too sensitive. "You're really going to cut me off over this?" "You'll get over it," he said confidently, as if this whole thing was just a phase I was going through. But I wasn't going to get over it. I hung up the phone and made the decision right then and there. I was cutting Jake out of my life. No more toxic behavior. No more crossing boundaries. I was done. I wish that were the end of it. But of course, things didn't stay quiet for long. A few days later, I got a call from my mom. I figured she wanted to check in on me and see how things were after the Christmas fiasco. But nope. She was calling to tell me that I was overreacting. "Honey, I talked to Jake, and he feels terrible about the whole thing," she said. He said he was just joking around and maybe Lisa misunderstood. You know how Jake is. He's always been a little flirty. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Mom, Jake propositioned my fiance. He tried to touch her. That's not flirting. That's harassment." My mom let out a sigh. "I'm not saying what he did was right, but he's your brother. Family is important. You can't just cut him off like this." I was speechless. Here I was, trying to protect Lisa from my creepy brother, and my own mother was acting like it was no big deal. She kept going on about how Jake didn't mean any harm, and how I needed to forgive him and move on. I couldn't take it anymore. I told her I wasn't interested in forgiving Jake, and if she was going to defend him, then I needed some space from her too. My dad called me a few hours later saying pretty much the same thing. That boys will be boys, and I shouldn't let this come between family. But to me, family doesn't mean turning a blind eye when someone crosses the line. I told them both that I wasn't going to tolerate this behavior, and if they wanted to keep siding with Jake, I'd have no choice but to distance myself from them. After that, things between me and my parents became strained. They kept trying to pressure me into reconciling with Jake, but I refused. Lisa was my priority, and I wasn't going to let anyone disrespect her, not even family. Jake, of course, didn't seem to care. He kept living his life like nothing had happened, and as far as I know, he still believes he did nothing wrong. The worst part was that other family members started taking Jake's side. My aunts, uncles, and cousins all started weighing in, telling me I was tearing the family apart, and that I needed to forgive and forget. Some even suggested that Lisa might be too sensitive, and that I was making a big deal out of nothing. It felt like the whole family was turning against me. Eventually, I realized that I couldn't win. My family wasn't going to change their minds, and Jake certainly wasn't going to apologize. So, I made the hardest decision I've ever had to make. I cut them all off. I blocked Jake, stopped answering my parents' calls, and distanced myself from everyone who sided with him. It wasn't easy, but I had to do what was right for me and Lisa. We started focusing on our own lives, planning our wedding without the family drama hanging over our heads. It's been tough, but I know I made the right choice. Lisa is the most important person in my life, and I won't let anyone, not even my own brother, take that away from me.